Hello folks, welcome back to another session of this Spring video series. In this session, we are going to automate the form. In this session, we are going to automate the user given request, this one. Okay, so for handling this student operations, I'm going to define a separate controller, that is maybe student controller or student operations controller. In that class, I'm going to keep this method and few more other methods. So first I will cut this here, save, and then I'll define a new class. src main Java, again in the controller package, new class. The class name is student controller, and then finish. Now this is student controller is getting open. Yes, here in this student controller, paste the method that we copied from the previous program. Now annotate this class with the controller. Right. Now we'll define another separate method, public model and view, and show form. Show form, an empty form we are going to show to the client. So in this show form, what we are going to do, a model and view object, model and view equals to new model and view of the view name. What is the view name? Show form .jsp. Yes. Now I'm not going to add any model here for time being. Simply I am returning this empty model and view. Return model and view object. Now this method is to be mapped with a URL, that is a request mapping show form. When the user has given this URL, this particular method executed, and here this method is going to send this view to the client. So show form.jsp we need to write. So src main web app webinf view, and right click on view, new, other, search by JSP automatically came. Next, enter the JSP file name which you want to present to the user. Finish. Here I am going to update the title slightly, student registration, stud reg, and here I will keep a simple HTML form to submit the ID, name, email. This form is to be submitted to student reg action. What is the action to this form? Student reg. Why I have used student reg as action? Here in the controller there is a method called student registration has mapped with the student reg. Can you find a relation between this action attribute value of the form and the method mapping? This is the reason earlier I told these methods are called action mapped methods. Okay, now whenever the client submitted this form, these form fields details goes to a method which has mapped with the student reg. That is this method, student reg mapped method. This is now what this method is doing, obtaining all the user given fields and then creating an instance of student, and then it is creating a model and view of show student. Then the show student view and adding a student object as a model and returning the model and view. This method we have taken from the previous program. Now let us execute this project. Right click, run as, run on server. Yeah, fine. Now here show form is the URL you are going to submit. To confirm once, go to student controller, make sure what is the URL for submitting. What is the URL to show a form, an empty form to the client? Show uppercase F starting form, show form. Now show form, hit enter. You will receive an empty form where you are going to give the values. Name is sam at hotmail.com and then register. Now did you notice all the values you got here? But one more thing, here you can see all of the fields values. Actually the form is working good, but presenting the form fields in the address bar is not good. How we can fix it? Let us try. Stop this page, stop the server, and then close the browser page. Now go back. At this point of time, we need to understand one more important concept in Spring web-based MVC. Along with action mapped methods, we need to understand one more thing, that is HTTP methods. Action plus HTTP method. These two parameters are there. These all methods. See, one complete different URL for showing a form and another complete URL for showing a form and a complete different URL for retrieving values the user has given. Instead of these, you can use the same URL, whatever used here, the same you can use here. But in that case, how? which method is to be executed in which scenario. Yes, exactly, that problem is to be addressed now. Instead of student form, you give this as student reg, but this should not be a default value to the request mapping. The request mapping method will take two parameters. They are name, that name equals to student reg, and another argument, that is method. This is HTTP method. What exactly HTTP method is to be executed in order to present this, in order to invoke this particular method? HTTP get method I am giving. Okay, student registration, HTTP with HTTP get method. Then in the similar way, here this is name equals to student reg and method equals to uh, post. Actually, this should not be a string, which I have given here is error. Instead of get, request method dot get, like this we have to give. Now, what update we need to do in the form? Earlier the form has submitted, show form, the form has submitted without having any method attribute. Whenever you did not use any method attribute while submitting a form, the default method is considered there. The default method is HTTP get. So here let us change this to method equals to post. By default it is get, but we want it to be post. Now, after these updates, just let us once again execute the project and verify what is going to happen. The URL we have to give is student reg, and make sure the student reg URL we are giving means it is generating HTTP get request. Slash student reg. A small correction in the controller. Here you have to give value uh, argument, not name argument. Now, yeah, you got the form. Here you give any values, uh, some value and some name, and then email address. swati@gmail.com. Now you register the form. Now, did you notice what all values you entered here? At the same time, you did not get the values added in the address bar in the URL. So, here, what is the takeaway? A controller related to operations on a particular model, which is going to have all different methods related to different HTTP methods: get, post, put, delete, etc. Here the method name differs, but make sure the all methods mapped with same URL with the value attribute, but method attributes changes from one to another method. This method executed whenever HTTP request came with post. Now here this method is executed whenever the HTTP request came with the get method. Other methods may be put and delete. So this is about mapping the action methods with HTTP methods. Okay. Thank you for watching.